Hello, and welcome back to Hold, Flip, or Dump, where we pick three tokens, usually mostly at random, and we decide to hold one, decide to flip one for quick profits, and decide to dump one. And today we're going to analyze three tokens that we mostly don't know anything about. We know little bits about, I guess, is a good good answer for that. Sui, Mantra, and Gnosis or Genosis. Not quite sure. How are you doing, Alex? How did you find these tokens?
Yeah, same as usual. This time I wanted to find three tokens that were quite different in terms of chain and also that were performing very well in the past 7 days. So, yeah, that's about it. I'm familiar with Sui. I've heard the name Mantra, but it's also it's a song from one of my favorite bands as well. So I'm not sure if there's a bit of yeah, my subconscious is playing up with me. And then Genosis, Gnosis, whatever it is, we'll find out more. Should we jump on to the news first?
Yes, please go ahead and do your news first.
Brilliant, my news. Excellent. So first things first, is this the end of stable coins in Europe? The answer is potentially not. There's a lot of speculation that stable coins are going to be banned in European countries, and that is a bit of a misconception. Now, if you've been following the crypto news, you will be familiar with MiCA, stands for Markets in Crypto Assets. And it's a regulation that essentially tries to regulate crypto in the European Union. And all it's asking is for any stablecoin issuers to register as a financial institution in Europe. That's all they're asking for now. Whether this regulation it's good for crypto, bad for crypto, is a different conversation. But there's been a lot of content on social media saying that it's the end of stablecoins in Europe, that you will not be able to do any trading with stablecoins, you will not be able to cash out, you will not be able to do anything. Don't worry about it. So it's just that Tether, the issuer of USDT, doesn't want to register with the European Commission. That's all. So potentially Tether will not be accessible from Europe, but it's not the end of it. USDC has tried to register, I think, since the start of the year, and it looks like they might be qualified as a stablecoin issuer in Europe. So it might be that you just need to exchange one-on-one. So don't worry about it. Your bags are safe, at least for now, of course. What do you think of this regulation? Is it good for crypto? Is it bad for crypto? What do you think?
Yeah, regulators are coming for stablecoins, it seems. There's a battle at the moment between which stablecoins are going to be allowed in which jurisdictions, and this is just the latest in that battle. I think the result of this will probably be that a small number of stablecoins are the accepted stablecoins, and those will be the largest ones: USDT, USDC, and a few others, a small handful of others, and the rest are going to be unregulated and delisted. So the first phase of the stablecoin war is over. The first battle has been fought, and now we're kind of dividing up the spoils. But it seems like it's good for stablecoins because regulators are now saying that stablecoins are going to be a thing. They're going to be a thing for a while. There's nothing really to stop them. They're being like adopted on a massive scale. But if you're a small stablecoin, things are going to get pretty sticky pretty quickly. And I'm just looking at the what have we got here? Total market cap for total crypto market cap on CoinGecko, and it's been more or less flat, actually. I was wondering if this news might have had an effect. We've got a slight downturn, what are we, 11th of June, in the last few days. But overall, actually, the last couple of months, the last month has been pretty good. And you can see there has been a drop-off in the last 2 weeks of the crypto market cap. Just want to quickly check the main tokens, the largest tokens. We've got Bitcoin down slightly over the last 7 days, 5.3%, and Ethereum also down 8.8%. I'm just going to go to my only news article this week, which is has Australia banned online gambling with crypto? This is the news from the other side of the world, Australia, where the government has really been cracking down on online casinos, but to protect its citizens from wasting money that they don't have. The Australian government implemented a ban on using crypto and credit cards for online gambling. The Canberra Times reported that Australia starts to prohibit digital currency and credit card use for online gambling forums. So not a good time to be in the crypto gambling markets for Australia. I think Australia also has some pretty strict rules on gambling in fiat currency as well, but this is an extension of that. So yeah, that's going to be moving offshore, it seems. I don't think, certainly not going to stop people gambling if they want to, but certainly it's going to stop people gambling if they're using a IP address from Australia.
Yeah, that's the key detail, the IP address from Australia. There's always ways around everything. So yeah, not familiar with the gambling industry, but if Australians really want to keep gambling, I'm sure they'll find a way. Now, I'd like to wrap it up just with a really quick question, which is, can you become a billionaire in a single month? So we can actually ask that to Roaring Kitty. We mentioned this, I think it's the third time we mentioned in Roaring Kitty this month, actually. It's back on the news. It's one of the big announcements of the meme culture, really. Roaring Kitty, I think his name is Keith. There we go. His name is Keith. Again, I want to recommend everybody the Netflix documentary about this. We're not affiliated with Netflix. We're not affiliated with that documentary. Just really recommend everybody to go and watch it. And here we go. So Roaring Kitty, or Keith Gill, shared that he had somewhere around 100 something million dollars invested in the GameStop stock. Now that turned into $1 billion after the latest bump. So you can consider that this gentleman has become a billionaire in about a month's time. So what do you think about this? Is this an opportunity, Robin, for anybody to, just put their money into meme stock or meme coin and truly become a billionaire and go to the moon? Or is this, just a 1 in a million type of event and it cannot happen again?
Well, Keith is living the meme coin dream, which is to put caution to the wind, put all of your hard-earned cash into a single meme coin. Don't diversify, put it all on one, and then 2 weeks later you'll be a billionaire. I don't think it happens very often, but it does happen, and that's been as we've said before, the overriding narrative of this cycle. Just the idea that you just get lucky. You just get your money, put it on a meme coin, and you'll become a billionaire. I think this is terrible financial advice to anyone wondering, and it's most likely going to go very badly wrong. But it seems like he's successfully done this twice. Is that right? He was responsible for the first spike in GameStop stock price, and now he's done it again. And I think people are going to be starting to ask questions about where he's getting this information from. Or maybe he's just so influential that everybody follows his bets. I think if it were me, I would cash out pretty quickly, because that billion could very quickly turn back into a million. So we'll see. But not financial advice. Diversify your portfolio.
Yeah, there we go. Just at the back of what you just said, there's been a lot of speculation that he's working with somebody else. As you can see, apologies. As you can see here, just an example tweet saying that it's impossible for him to be able to make a trade that large. and they believe that he's working with somebody else. Now, obviously, it could also be jealousy. It could be all sorts of things. So, nonetheless, it's a very extraordinary event of just 100 million and stocks to return a 10x value out of what you've invested is quite strange in less than a month. So there we go. I guess probably there'll be a second part of the Netflix documentary. Who knows? But yeah, keep an eye out for this. And now that we've spoken about meme coins and stocks and prices and money, should we jump in to learn a bit more about these three tokens?
Let's do it. Yeah. Another quick thing to mention is that NVIDIA became the largest company in the world, I think, last week, overtaking Apple. So I think, GameStop and NVIDIA would have been good picks if you bought NVIDIA stock 5 years ago. I don't know what the difference is, but it's pretty substantial. Okay, so let's go into the first token, which I think is, you're starting with Gnosis. This is, so this is confusing because there used to be a multi-sig, one of the first multi-sig wallets was called Gnosis or Gnosis, but I think this is a different coin. Is that right?
Wasn't aware that there was a different project called Gnosis.
Again,
that's the beauty of this, that we don't know much about it. So according to this, is an open applications and infrastructure for the new economy. That's what it says.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, the old Gnosis was Gnosis Safe, and I think it's now just called Safe. So this is something new, and it keeps asking me to log in. So let's see what information we can find. It's the contract's based on Ethereum. Let's look at the white paper, see if there's any information on GitHub about Gnosis. Usually the white paper will give you some information about the tokenomics, the technology. Wow, 22nd of September 2017. This goes way back.
It does, yeah.
Let's look at the price action since then. All time. We started in May 2017, and it spiked initially up to $404, dropped down. It's been languishing at around $20 during the during their first bear market, and then went back up in 2021 to about $500, and then sat down at $100 for the next bear market. And lately it's spiked around $360, $400. So it's been up and down quite a bit.
Price-wise, I mean, what's interesting is looking at this price action. I mean, I'd love to understand a bit more what this is, because I'm not fully understanding what Gnosis really is. Because they've got some physical Visa card that I'm assuming that you can pay with crypto. So if you've got any tokens on the Gnosis chain, you can use that to make day-to-day purchases. But in any case, the price itself, it doesn't look that great. Looking at the price, you can see it had a peak in 2017 and then back again in 2018. And then there was this kind of curve that we see here from 2018 all the way to the next peak in 2021. So it had that kind of curve doing that. So sometimes that's seen as a potential bullish catalyst in terms of technical analysis, but then it dumped again, and then we've got another curve from 2021 to 2024. So again, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. So if it did that curve between two peaks, I'm assuming that this is potentially going to drop again and repeat that curve. Again, I could be wrong, but I'd like to know what this project really is to then understand how interesting it is for my portfolio or not. You've got Twitter open.
A bit of background. So yesterday, Gnosis, I'm going to call it Gnosis. Yesterday,
Cool.
Gnosis
I got
DAO.
Gnosis. I got Gnosis, and then one of us will be correct.
One
So
of
we've
us will
got
be
50
correct,
50. Yeah.
Yesterday, Gnosis DAO approved GIP 100, instructing Carpat Key to perform a total of $30 million in GNO buybacks over 6 months. Key goals of this large-scale buyback program include transfer value to long-term token holders by acquiring GNO tokens below its intrinsic value, signal to the market a firm commitment from Gnosis DAO to establish a valuation floor that exceeds book value, attract attention to Gnosis products and community by enhancing the investment appeal of the GNO token. So a buyback scheme is basically just the project buying their own token with the aim to reduce the supply and hopefully push the price up a little bit. And that can obviously have a very beneficial effect on the current holders because suddenly they've got a much scarcer resource. So maybe that was something that maybe that influenced the recent uptick. Let's see what the last 7 days have been. Yeah, it's been up and down a lot in the last 7 days as well. So maybe that's not the reason. But that is good news from a holder perspective.
Okay. Very interesting. But is it enough to push the price up that much? I mean, it hasn't been that much. So yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Do you know much about their chain? Since they've got I'm not sure if it's a layer 2 or what this chain is.
I've not heard of the Gnosis chain, I'm afraid. There are so many chains, it's basically impossible to follow them all. It would be. It seems like it's been around a while, though. Let's see if ChatGPT's got any information about it.
Well, the website says that they were actually founded in 2015 and had a focus on prediction markets to enable worldwide access to accurate information. So I'm assuming they wanted to build some form of oracle, data oracle, or trading. I'm not entirely sure, but this prediction markets, yeah, just sounds something quite interesting that maybe in 2015 they wanted to build using blockchain technology. Then they changed the initial vision and began developing the infrastructure that would support the rise of Ethereum. Interesting.
So maybe actually Gnosis and Gnosis Safe were actually related because according to ChatGPT, the Gnosis chain, formerly XDAI, has a variety of use cases and hosts several significant projects, mainly focused on decentralized finance, DAOs, and various dApps. The biggest projects are Gnosis Safe, which is a multi-signature wallet, DAO Stack, a comprehensive stack for creating and managing DAOs, SushiSwap. I didn't know SushiSwap was on Gnosis. Has OpenAI just made that up? I think.
Or it could be that just they've got you can trade any Gnosis based tokens through SushiSwap maybe. What's interesting, they also have a decentralized VPN. This is something that I've been finding quite very interesting, and I only knew that this existed very recently. There's several projects offering this decentralized VPN network, which I find fascinating. I think it's brilliant. And again, they've called that Gnosis Pay, but I think they, all in all, I'm getting to understand there's a fairly complex and large project. I'm surprised I really didn't know about it, but I think that maybe for the purpose of time, we should move on to the next one.
Yeah, let's do it. So the next one, I believe, is going to be Mantra. Let's look at the all-time price. Mantra started in 2020, and we started around 40 cents. It spiked in March 2021 at about 45 cents. And then recently, in the last month, let's see, it's gone up to a peak of around just over $1, and it's come back down a little bit since then, but definitely been showing some good price action lately. I believe Mantra is a layer 2. I know that they do a lot of, I've seen adverts, commercials for Mantra, so I know that they must be well funded. I don't know much information about what it is. I know that they've been giving out grants as well. So let's see if we can find out. Mantra is a security-first RWA layer 1 blockchain. RWA, real-world assets, of course, capable of adherence to real-world regulatory requirements. Let's see if we can explore their ecosystem. Chainlink. I think a lot of people are partnered with Chainlink. Lime Chain, Ondo Finance. Some fairly big names there. Obviously, we don't know how deep that relationship goes. So never trust a logo on a website is what I like to say.
I'm wondering if they're built on Cosmos, because they're using. It says here that they're powered by the IBC, so the Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol, which is, I believe, it was created by the Cosmos ecosystem to be able to bridge tokens. But I might be wrong.
We are seeing a lot of these lately, it seems. The RWA blockchain narrative seems to be strong. The idea that instead of hosting your real-world assets on another layer 2, you should host it on a layer 2 which is specifically targeted towards RWA use cases, empowering developers and users, reducing costs and complexities for both projects and retailers. Low cost and fast. Well, that's kind of a necessity now for any layer 2. Yeah, here we go. Increased trust, transparency, and security provided by Cosmos SDK. Looks like you were right, Alex.
There we go. We did see a few weeks ago, we reviewed Hedera, and Hedera is positioning themselves. It looks like it's trying to compete directly with Mantra, and Hedera has a very low fees that they're pegged to the dollar. So instead of paying a fixed amount on HBAR tokens, you always pay, I think it was like 1/100th of a cent per transaction. So that makes it very appealing if you're trying to, capitalize as much as possible on your RWAs, whether you're issuing them or whether you are trading them. In this case, it looks like Mantra is offering more of a cross-chain implementation if it's building on Cosmos and using the IBC protocol. It could be that it's just trying to position themselves as the cross-chain RWA layer. Could that be?
Yeah, that might be a smart move, because we've seen some layer 1s and some layer 2s positioning themselves in that kind of space. I'm looking here at what appears to be the Mantra DAO total lock value. It's not very much though, so I imagine that that's not the actual main locked value. Is there also a Mantra protocol, or is that different? No, this looks very low. I don't think that's related. So not a huge amount of locked value according to DeFi Llama, or maybe it's just not being tracked yet.
Okay. But very interesting anyways. I think that anybody that is now positioning themselves towards the major narratives for the next bull market, they're potentially in a very good place if they actually can deliver, of course. There was a lot of gains and a lot of adoption on certain layer 2s and blockchains when gaming, when NFTs were the big thing. Now, I'm guessing that a lot of these chains have learned the lesson and they're positioning themselves on the different narratives, whether it's meme coins, whether it's RWAs, whatever it is, they're just remarketing themselves just to attract that big inflow of capital that could potentially change the market completely, hopefully in the next few months. So yeah, very interesting. What have you found on Twitter?
Not a huge amount. It looks like they're fairly well funded. It looks like they've got a lot of activity, a lot of engagement. Yeah, the idea of building a blockchain or a layer 2 or whatever it is, the business plan seems to be you build it, you put in the infrastructure, and you get the community, and then you pivot towards one of the narratives which fits your community best. I don't know whether Mantra was always targeting RWAs, but I suspect that they weren't, and that they've started to just latch onto this narrative. It's the same with Deepin and other narratives. We're finding that there are dedicated chains now, whereas before those chains might have been targeting other customers or other use cases.
Yeah, not sure what other value Mantra would bring apart from that cross-chain tokenization, if that's even a thing. I'm wondering if what that means is that whatever tokens you buy, then you can just move them around quite easily. So that if I'm buying an RWA on Mantra that is, I don't know, on a Ethereum layer 2 is compatible with that, then I want to migrate it over to I don't know, Solana or anything else, that they just essentially make it easier for you to move around. I'm not entirely sure. This kind of skips over my head when it comes to the technical part, but in any case, it's a good position and the price is reacting well. So yeah, I don't know. I see it as a very interesting potential allocation to a portfolio. But again, not financial advice.
Plug and play compliant solutions, build and operate in a regulatory compliant and transparent environment with Mantra chain modular tech stack, access to cross-chain interoperability. This is what you were talking about through Cosmos interchain communication protocol. I don't know how much that simplifies cross-chain communication, but I would imagine it makes it easier to bridge assets from one chain to another. Hopefully, if it's both on layer 2s, you're not paying too much gas. But it seems like Mantra are building for developers and trying to bring projects in the RWA space onto their chain. As always with this kind of thing, I would want to know who is building on Mantra, what are they building, how much traction is there, because they are only they're only as big as the projects that are on there. And there's a lot of competition, as we've seen in previous episodes, for RWA blockchains. So potentially a risky or more risky than usual bet, but they do seem to have good backing. I wonder if we can find out their investors, partners, incubator. They do seem to be handing out some cash to projects. So they must have some backing, or potentially it was all from the initial offering.
Yeah, I'm guessing that a lot of these projects are going to want to offer grants, because then incentivizes people to build on it, and then that's how you attract eventually not just the talent but also the adoption. So yeah, exactly. Should we move on to Sui?
Yeah. Okay. So Sui layer 1, and wow, look at that, exactly $1. It's not a stable coin either, is it? No.
Just happened to be there was $1.
Spooky. So Sui from the developers of Facebook, right? Is that correct?
Yes. So this is a known thing, and if you've been following along, we reviewed Sei, very similar, Sei a few weeks ago. Oh, but it's not Sei, actually. Ignore that. There's 2 projects that came out of the Facebook team. One is Sui, the other one is Aptos. Ignore what I just said. So yes, a few years ago, Facebook wanted to create their own blockchain. They were going to have their own token as well. I don't remember the name for Libra, but then they changed to something else. And then they discontinued it. And so that team divided in two. A group of them built up Aptos, which is another very interesting blockchain. And the other part of the team just went to build Sui. That's all I know. I think that also I've heard that Sui means water in Japanese. I think we can.
Interesting. Yeah, look at this. Due to the outstanding quality of proposals and strong demand for the program, the Sui Foundation has committed an additional $1 million in funding for 2024. So if you're looking for funding and you might consider building on the Sui blockchain, this is for you.
Yes, there's been several spikes in daily transactions on Sui, and there's a lot of content on social media where they compare daily transactions on Sui and Solana. And every so often, there's always Sui just takes 10x the amount of daily transactions of Solana, and then they flip, and then Solana takes that 10x. So there's a lot of those spikes, and it seems that Sui is bringing a lot of adoption. Again, daily transactions says it all, and the transaction fees are very cheap as well. So this is the same way that Solana is called the Ethereum killer. Sui is called the Solana killer, or at least one of them. And yeah, it's actually, I said that I didn't know much about it, but I've heard actually, I'm unlocking a lot of memories. They released the plans for a physical device to play your favorite Web3 games. It will be really interesting to find that on the news, but it was on Cointelegraph actually, and the demo looks super cool. It's like your portable PlayStation, your PSP, but essentially built on the blockchain, which makes it a lot simpler because not everybody has a custom computer to download heavy Web3 games. Not all Web3 games are admitted on the likes of Steam or the Epic Game Store. So Sui just decided that the best way for them to gain adoption is by bringing all those games into a hardware device. So very exciting, I think.
Yeah, this was back in April 2024 this year. Sui unveils handheld Web3 gaming device, plus a Bored Ape burger restaurant closes. Some other news from the time. But yeah, it looks like Sui has plans to release a gaming device. Sui developer Miston Labs is making the device, and it will natively integrate the Sui blockchain. So off the back of the Solana phone, I guess, we've got another example of a crypto first device. I think the Solana phone sold out, right? That was quite successful, and gives you native access to the Solana ecosystem directly from your handheld device.
Yeah, there we go. So I'm guessing they're trying to build those solutions for gamers. The key focus there, as you can see here, they've called gaming, commerce, and DeFi. So, a good way to attract players is going to be with hardware. Again, because not everybody's got access to strong and powerful computers. And sometimes if you want to play a beta game or an alpha or a closed test, or even just go and download the full game, and you want to play a Web3 game, it's virtually impossible to attract a lot of users with powerful computers that will allow them to play and have a full experience. So I think that this is actually a very smart move. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen, whether more games are going to want to deploy on Sui just for the fact that they can reach their communities directly through that hardware device. So yeah, I don't know. I find it very interesting. Really, really interesting project. Yeah. In terms of price, we haven't spoken about the price very much either. This was a sad launch. There was a lot of noise around Sui, and then as you can see, the price dropped massively. We spoke about that inverted curve earlier on Gnosis. And so it looks like Sui's got exactly the same issue there. So you've got that inverted curve, and then it's dropped once again. So if the all-time high was $2, and now it's $1, so it still needs to do a 2x to break even, really, for anybody that bought at the top. And there is a very interesting platform for everybody to check called Token Unlocks. Why is this useful? Because you can actually get to see how many more tokens there are going to be in circulation at a particular time period. And that's useful because if there's more supply in the market, then that's also going to add sell pressure, which means that the more supply there is in the market, then the potential demand will be affected. So we can actually go and find Sui. And the Token Unlocks, we see that is up to date, so it's $1, and we can see that they still have unlocked. They've got, what is that? Like 50%, almost 50% of the token still to be unlocked. Going through all this, we've got these charts, and we can see there that there was a major unlock. Let me just bring my mouse there. There was a major unlock. When was this? In April. So that would explain a lot. As you can see, there was a huge amount of tokens being unlocked from Series A and Series B, Mysten Labs, Treasury. So a lot of it could have gone to VCs, also to the treasury of the developers of Sui blockchain. But that also tells you that that big unlock means that there's a lot more tokens in circulation, meaning more people were selling, which then would go hand in hand with, did the price drop in April? There we go. April had a major drop in price, and it goes hand in hand with that unlock. So super interesting information to keep in mind at all times, because now you've got a bit of a linear vesting. You see that the vesting lines are quite smooth, and then there's some unlock that's allocated after 2030. We can see there. So allocated after 2030. So 2030, we'll see a big unlock of tokens. According to this, at least 5 billion tokens will be unlocked. So also important to bear that date in mind, because if there's 5 billion tokens back in circulation, there's potentially 5 billion tokens to be sold. Spoken enough. Robin, any other thoughts?
No, that's super interesting. Yeah, Token Unlocks. This is a cool website to use. I guess if you were considering investing in one of these tokens, you'd want to know how much of the supply has already been unlocked, how much is still yet to be unlocked, and probably investing just before a big unlock is very risky. You might want to think about timing it so that you're not doing that when the market is most volatile, when there's this sudden influx of new tokens that people might be dropping on the market or selling. So yeah, this is a very useful tool. I think I guess if the token you're looking up is completely unlocked already, I guess it's quite rare. But if there's a very small amount of locked token, then it gives you more confidence that there won't be crazy supply and demand shifts, and it's a bit more of a safe bet. But I'm definitely going to be using, not that I'm a trader really, but I'm definitely going to be using this website in the future to check out the token supplies.
Yeah, I just think that is super useful, and it does give another side to this overall picture. We can see that in April there was a major drop. If we cannot find anything on the news, if you cannot find any catalyst as to why did the price drop almost 100%, not 100%, but 50% drop, sorry, from $2 down to $1. Why did that happen? Then you can then understand, okay, so there's a lot of new tokens in circulation, and probably all these early investors, they decided like, hey, I need to pay rent, I need to pay whatever, I need to pay for my Lambo, whatever it is, I'm going to go and cash out. So probably that's what happened right there. A quick heads up is that this platform doesn't have all tokens available. There's thousands and thousands of tokens out there. You will not find all your tokens or even meme coins or anything like that on this, but still a great tool to use. I couldn't find data on Mantra and Gnosis, for example, but Sui did give us that overall picture. And now we know that looking into the future, there is going to be quite a linear and smooth vesting. So it's not going to be very aggressive, and it's just going to be about what the project does. How the project keeps performing, the usage of the token for to pay for network fees and that sort of thing. So yeah, not a major event expected on the token side of things, at least for several years. So, any other comments, or should we go into allocations?
Yeah, I think we should make a play. So as of last week, we're now doing percentage allocations for each of these. So it's not just hold, flip, or dump. It's now hold, flip, or dump with some weightings, so that we can tell, mainly so we can come back to this later and actually tell how this theoretical portfolio would have performed. Of course, we're not actually investing money in this case, but it's fun to track how these decisions would have gone. So the decision is Gnosis or Gnosis, whatever, a decentralized platform for targeting RWAs and other things. Mantra, again, heavily targeting RWAs, I think, and building infrastructure for developers. And Sui, who we've just been discovering, layer 1, impressive team and lots of backing, lots of financial backing by the looks of it. But 3 strong projects, I think. Maybe Mantra and Sui are the bigger. Let's just check the market caps of each of these quickly. 867 million for Gnosis. Let's see, 679. Is that million? No, what's that? Is that the? Sorry, I'm looking at the. No, that's. Why is the market cap not?
So we've got 2.4 billion market cap for Sui, 700 million market cap for Mantra, and 860 million market cap for Gnosis.
Interesting. Okay. So in terms of my strongest, I think I'm going to go with. Well, I do like the look of Sui, but I'm actually going to go with Mantra, because I think that building tools for developers is a very good idea. The old thing about don't head out west, or don't go and dig the gold yourself. You should be building the picks and the shovels to help people who are going to dig the gold. Then you don't have to fluctuate with the highs and lows of actually being on the bleeding edge of that industry, but you can still provide value. So yeah, Mantra would be my hold, I guess, in this case. My flip would be Sui, because they are obviously making some impressive moves in the space. And then, sorry, Gnosis or Gnosis, you're going to be my dump for today. Not for any failure on their part, more just because I don't see any particular reason to invest. So I'm going to say, let's say 15% on Gnosis, and let's say 50% on Sui. Sorry, 50%. Yeah, no, 50% on Mantra. Sorry, and 35% on Sui. So 15, 35, 50, which I believe makes 100. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, brilliant. Excellent. So we'll go with yours, because we did mine last week, but I would actually say that Sui has more potential, just because I love games. I do really believe that is the most consistent narrative that has not changed in several cycles to gain adoption in Web3. So gaming has been a very consistent narrative, and I do believe that as soon as that's there, we're going to get a lot of users in the space. So I think that Sui with a hardware device and also just overall with the tech they're building, I would do a hold. I would flip Mantra just price-wise, to be honest, just because it looks like it's reached a bit of a turning point right there, and it looks like it's also an all-time high. So yeah, usually not great to buy a token when it's on an all-time high, because most of the time there's only one way to go, and it's usually down. So I would just flip it for price reasons, and then I would agree with Gnosis dumping, because price wise it looks like it's following a very similar pattern, and yeah, it's been around for a long time, still struggled to gain that price up and the adoption of the token, although it might be that there's a lot of people building on it. It's just we don't know. So yeah, now following Robin's allocation, we'll share this on our usual update newsletter. Today's the 11th, and the allocation would look like this. So all time is not great, it's all red, but our performance against Bitcoin, once again, well done. Because Robin, you would have outperformed Bitcoin, not by a lot, it looks like just by a couple percentage points, but still good. Good choice. There we go. So outperforming Bitcoin, that's a great thing. Yeah. And yeah, apart from that, excellent review. I've learned a lot. Also good to see you've outperformed Bitcoin, at least in the past few weeks. And there's another peak that you had over there sometime in April. So 2 opportunities to cash out more than what you would have on Bitcoin. So
nice.
Excellent.
Yeah. So now I'm going to take all those profits and put them into GameStop, not financial advice.
Yeah. Exactly. Excellent. Well, so
great stuff.
Thanks so much. More next week.
We'll see you again next week.